Liverpool fans always sing about having won the lot. But up until a few years ago, there was still one major trophy that England's most decorated club had yet to win. Let's take you back to the day that Liverpool conquered the bloody world in the LFC time machine.
But Gerrard! You beauty!
And now the cup was theirs to take home.
Liverpool lead in stoppage time!
Liverpool are European champions!
He has won the cup for Liverpool all by himself.
Liverpool finally are Premier League champions.
The American
Scouser.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Cam Reno, and I am an American Scouser, bringing you inside the LFC time machine, where we take you back to the games, the days, the events that made Liverpool FC the most special club in the world. And today we're taking you all the way back to 2019, which does feel like forever ago, but at the time of recording this, it was only
burger.
3 years ago. Well, the world was a very, very different place back in 2019. And the best part was we didn't ever have to wash our hands. And also Liverpool were the world champions. The Reds were damn near unstoppable in 2019, bringing home European Cup number 6, Super Cup number 3, and were running riot towards the league title. But there was one spot left empty on the trophy wall, one piece of silverware left to be conquered, the Club World Cup. Needing to win the European Cup even to enter into this competition, Liverpool lost their chances at world glory in 1981 and 1984 when the team kind of treated it like a glorified friendly, and then once again even when they did take it seriously in 2005. Now back at the table, the tournament's prestige had changed and the mentality monsters were determined to add this notch to their belt. So it's time to take a little Christmas holiday to beautiful Qatar. That's right, this was a staging opportunity for this lovely, friendly, and not at all problematic homestead to show the world how great it is before putting on the 2022 World Cup. Anyway, the entire setting around the competition is a little weird. It's not like a Champions League final where thousands of Scousers make the trip, and it's not like a preseason tour where the stadiums are just filled with people from that place. It's kind of a hybrid. Probably because most of the people didn't want to travel to Qatar the week before Christmas. And the fans don't even have their own ends of the ground either, like we see in Europe. So from a crowd perspective, it's a lot like the Super Bowl here in the States, where the fans are intertwined, but it's more of a corporate crowd. Also, you've got teams that are nowhere close to being familiar with each other, since this is literally the only opportunity to have to play one another in a competitive match. And Liverpool are right in the middle of the busiest time of the Premier League season. So basically, it's hot, it's weird, and you get a pretty bitchin' patch if you win the thing. Sounds like my kind of party. So Liverpool gets off the plane and they're already World Cup semi-finalists. Sounds a lot like England back in 2018. First up, Monterrey out of Mexico. Liverpool start Jordan Henderson at center back a year before it was cool, so that kind of shows you how they're treating this competition and the time of year that they're playing in it. And Bobby Big Time Firmino scores the winner right at the death, keeps the shirt on, and sends Liverpool to the final. So 2 days later, it's the European champions and the South American champions, Flamengo from Brazil, to settle who is the best club football team in the world. We know how Liverpool got here. This was their renaissance. Losing the league title on the final day, but making the miracle comeback against Barcelona in the Champions League semis, and then beating Tottenham in Madrid in the final to restore European glory. Make no mistake, no matter how this match turned out, Liverpool were definitely the best team in the world. And as emotional a ride as it was for Liverpool in the year leading up to this game, Flamengo were looking for a perfect way to cap off the most special year in the club's illustrious history. Let's pause there and trace their steps all the way back to Brazil. You see, Flamengo were a lot like Liverpool. Even being one of Brazil's most historic clubs, they went into the season having not won the league title since 2009 and not winning the Copa Libertadores since 1981. Whereas Liverpool had Mo Salah carry them in 2017-18, Gabriel Barbosa, yet another striker nicknamed Gabigol, came to Rio and took the world by storm with 43 goals in all competitions for Flamengo in 2018-19. But that's not what makes Flamengo's story so special. In February, while the senior team was still preparing for their first Copa Libertadores match, a fire broke out inside the dormitories at the club's youth team training ground, killing 10 youth players between the ages of 14 and 17 in an event the club called the most tragic in their 123-year history. With heavy hearts, Flamengo were flying out of the gates, top of the league and all the way to the Libertadores semi-finals, where, at home in the Maracanã in the second leg, they crushed Grêmio 5-0 to book a spot in the final. At the Estadio Monumental in Peru, Flamengo were massive underdogs against Argentine giants and defending champions River Plate, and the Buenos Aires club jumped ahead after just 14 minutes and held on to that 1-0 lead until the dying moments of the match. With 1 minute left in normal time, something amazing happened. Now, before I show you what happened, I would describe it as a Cinderella story, but that doesn't do it justice. It's like a Cinderella story if Cinderella herself took a whole bunch of crack and then wrote a Cinderella story. That's what this was like. Down 1-0 with the clock ticking desperately close to 90 minutes, Gabigol struck not once, but twice in a 3-minute span to give Flamengo the trophy for the first time in 38 years and one of the greatest finals of all time. Oh, and on the plane ride home from that, Palmeiras lost in the league, which gave Flamengo the title there as well. The club had literally risen from the ashes of February's tragedy to maybe their greatest season ever. Having been through that, they weren't exactly worried about playing the European champions, and they wanted the whole world to see who they were. Now let's go back to December 21st, 2019. Weirdly enough, these two have history, as Flamengo battered Liverpool 3-0 in the 1981 version of this tournament. And it's well known that the South American players and fans take this trophy much more seriously than the Europeans. They see it as a chance to prove how good the quality of their domestic leagues are, even while all of their players are still leaving to play in Europe. Let's think about it from Liverpool's perspective. Here's a 2-game competition that, if they win, isn't really going to raise their profile and attract players like winning the league or winning the Champions League will, and it's played in the Middle East, right in the middle of their league season. So for us here in America, imagine the Golden State Warriors playing the champions from China in the middle of January in Moscow. That's basically what this is like for Liverpool. The final has its moments, but it's mostly both teams just trying to feel each other out, with Firmino getting a few golden chances that he doesn't take, and Flamengo boss Jorge Jesus, their third manager of the season by the way, getting mad at Klopp over something. Like the Copa Libertadores final, the Club World Cup final didn't really pick up steam until the final minutes. Just seconds into stoppage time, Flamengo's Rafinha, no, not that Rafinha, trips Sadio Mane just inside the box, and the referee gives a penalty. Until he doesn't. VAR rules that he was just outside the box and the free kick goes nowhere. So now the final was headed to extra time. 9 minutes into the extra frame, Mane gets the ball in a perfect pass in space and Firmino's defender falls down, allowing Liverpool's number 9 an almost free run in on goal when he gets the ball. The final, and indeed the World Championship, is right on Firmino's foot. But let's pause and take a step back. Before he won the lot, before the clutch goals, before the kung fu kicks and the samba magic, Bobby Firmino was a bargaining chip. In 2015, Liverpool sporting director Michael Edwards was keen to sign Firmino, who was then one of the Bundesliga's brightest young stars playing for Hoffenheim. Then Liverpool manager Brendan Rodgers, he didn't see the hype. He wanted Aston Villa target man Christian Benteke, and he wasn't going to budge on that. Rodgers and the transfer committee were constantly at odds, but this time it was such a stalemate that Edwards only agreed to bring Benteke in on the condition that they signed Firmino as well. Rodgers begrudgingly agrees, and now Firmino and Benteke are Liverpool players. So Bobby comes in, Rodgers is sacked about a month into the season and replaced by Jurgen Klopp, and Benteke spends just 1 season in Liverpool Red. 2 legends in, 2 schmoes out. Even with Klopp bringing in world-class players with seemingly every transfer he makes, it's actually Firmino who seems to be the perfect player for his system, a player he didn't even sign. The Brazilian becomes the talisman in attack and is quickly a fan favorite on Merseyside, and he's also the key man in the devastating front three along with Salah and Mane, hitting double digits in league goals in his first 4 seasons and 27 in all competitions in 2017-18, and with an eye for the big goals too, scoring the winner against PSG in the Champions League in 2018-19, putting away the goal to knock out Man City's Centurions in the 2018 quarterfinals, and bagging the stoppage time winner just 2 days earlier. But now this was a golden opportunity to get his signature goal at what you could say is the biggest stage. This is the guy who Brendan Rodgers thought wasn't good enough to play for Liverpool. The same one Michael Edwards thought was so good he'd waste a pretty penny on a player he knew would fail just to get him in the door. It had been a long and so far fruitful road for Bobby Firmino, and now he had the fate of Liverpool's unconquerable triumph at his feet. He was no bargaining chip anymore. Enter Bobby Big Time. You can ditch the shirt this time, Bobby. You definitely earned it. Ah yes, the world was a much simpler and maybe more fun place back in 2019, solely because Liverpool were the world champions, right? Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the LFC Time Machine. What were your memories of this game? Be sure to leave those in the comments below. Also, you got a suggestion for what game or day you want me to cover next? Leave those in the comments as well. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so American Scholarship can bring you all the best, fresh content with a view from our fans here in the United States. Thank you all so much for watching. Catch you next time, Reds.